Okay. This here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 tracks already to listen to. That's quite a bit. Okay. Can close out of some other stuff. This is not needed anymore. I can put my chat on the right side. Sorry guys, it's just a little bit messy today. I am very busy over these last few days, yes. My chat is there. Okay. DMT, Pete, Nicholas, and Reverk, welcome already. How are you guys doing? I'm waiting for some people to join in, and then we'll get started with the feedback. I think I need to go through it very quickly today, because as I said, I am very, very busy. Tuesday, I am going on Christmas holiday, so I'll be effectively gone up until the 1st of January. That's when I'm coming back. So on Tuesday, I'm driving with my parents to the Netherlands. We'll get there Thursday, because we're doing it in 2 stages. And then I'm staying there a little bit, going through to different families, different friends, and all of that kind of stuff. Seeing everybody there that I need to see. And then the 27th, from the 27th till the 28th, I'm coming back. So then I'm here at my home for 2 days. And then the 30th, I am going to go down to Parma, where I sometimes also go out and party. But this time, some other friends of mine are also coming there. So we're going to stay there for 2 nights and enjoy New Year's Eve that way. So, yeah, as you can imagine, I have to edit a lot. I have to prepare a lot in order for you guys to have content. The main thing that I still need to do is shorts. I have recorded all of the long form content that I need to record. That is already in the edit. There's 2 videos that are... so there's the video for tomorrow that is coming to go out tomorrow. Then there's another video that is already almost finished. I just need to upload that one. And then I have... then I have 5 more videos that I can finish editing. And that should be okay. So for the long format, and that should cover everything that I need to do. The main thing is just the shorts. I still need to record some of them. I need to record like 10 more, and I need to edit all of them, and that is just annoying work, and that would take me a whole day. Then I also need to work on the packs, so the kick drum pack as well as the wavetable pack that we've been working on. And finally, I need to post stuff for the label. I was in the Netherlands as well. I assume you're still there, no? Bendy, Gerrig, welcome. Brandon, welcome. Ganesh, Anto, Guido, Jlight, welcome as well. In fact, I still am always, actually always, yes. I was about to say, I believe that is true all the time, no? So yeah, 14 tracks to listen to. Let's get started since now people have already joined. The very first track is Strings by Ham. I don't know if he is already in here, if he is already listening and whatnot. But we're just going to start. And what I'm probably going to end up doing tonight is not do wavetables for very long. So I'll probably end up do feedback for like 2 hours, and then I'll do wavetables for another 2 hours or so. So that would make it 9 o'clock. And from there, I'm going to go and quit the stream early, and then I'm going to edit. gonna spend a lot of time editing these days. Anyway, let's get into it. Strings. So yeah, that would mean that at some point fairly soon I would have to close the queue. That is what I wanted to say with that. So anyway, strings. I hope volume is okay for you guys. Not really a lot of progression in this track. That's something to definitely worry about. Overall nice kick and bass. You do have some bleeding into transients, so you need to resample both kick and bass, because I can see the bass line being slightly off here as well. This isn't to the point where it becomes bad, but it's nice to have it nicer, you know. Nice strong lead, I like it. A little bit strange that there's like a hat instead of a snare here. Very strong sculpts there. It's a bit strange that the melody goes dun 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 dun. It's like one of them, you somehow misaligned them, the notes. I also don't really think that here the combination with the melody works very well. I would try to have the melody open up more over time, and then with the drum elements like you have now, kind of create a build instead of focusing on the guitar. Very loud risers. Ah. Makes us a little bit all over the place here. This is very unbalanced. Yeah, this part is very unbalanced. Since you say that this is your first track, that's gonna be natural. Like, you don't have the ear for the kind of details to be able to dial in really the kind of exactness that you would need for getting that kind of balance. Like something like this snare here was definitely overpowering in those higher frequencies there. I think in the last part that was the hat, right? Overall, there were, like, right before it, there was that build with the risers being, like, way too loud. That idea that the idea that risers are, like, overpowering the main melody in that part, you grow out of that once you do, like, 20 tracks. Because usually it's gonna be nicer for the melody to be the main, like, driver of energy and then the risers to support that, as opposed to the other way around. I think this part is better. This part is more balanced sounding. Maybe the bass line can be a bit quieter, dB or two, but that's about it. Nice to see that we have a nice change of lead here. Not a fan of the strange, seemingly random auto panning that is happening. It doesn't feel like it's in sync with anything, like the speed varies. Generally speaking, I don't like panning on synths, mainly on my main synths. I really just don't like it unless it's for like a special moment in the track, not just as a main modulation throughout the whole thing. It gets a little bit more unstable than just having it in the center and controlling just the width of it, as opposed to like the actual panning of it. The width is basically how wide this oval is, and the panning is going to be how much slanted it is to literally the left and the right here. Final thing I'll say is that there's not really much connection between the guitar and everything else happening in the track. It feels like you created a cool guitar loop for a hip-hop track that you were working on, and then you heard psytrance, and you were like, you know what, I'm gonna try that psytrance stuff, and then you didn't start a new project. Hi everyone, I'm going for a walk with you in my headphones, have a nice day. It's like a podcast kind of thing then. The Projector Psytrance podcast. That's what we can call this. Cool. Nice. Hope that's helpful. I made the string thingy and insisted on keeping it, but thanks for the feedback. You're welcome. I hope it's helpful. Okay, next up we have Bendy here with one chord trick work in progress. Okay. I am intrigued. You could match the notes from the guitar onto other synths and refer it through the track. Yeah, you can use it in the fill as well. You just connect it more to the drop itself, so that it doesn't sound like, oh, segment, segment, segment. Is it me or is the Reese bass like wobble speed changing with the pitch of the sound? It's not like wrong to do that, by the way. It's an interesting observation, not a point of feedback. Don't go and try to fix that, because that's interesting. Yes, the wobble does change with the pitch. Very interesting. I wonder what this is going to become. Wait, is this the like quote-unquote drop? I'm assuming this is more towards like an ambient thing. But I thought that this was more the break, to be honest. If you want this to be like an actual drop and a little bit more impactful, then you should probably have the kick take over the bass and like sidechain it and make sure that the kick has, you know, low frequencies to cut through that part as well. Because now it's like, oh, we're in the break and the drums are high passed, so we're going to get into it later. In cases like this, where you have a cool synth playing an ARP and there's like one modulation on top of it, you can make it more interesting by, say, taking the delay up over time, taking the reverb up over time. That kind of stuff. It felt like on these kind of synths, the delay and reverb are just kind of slapped on there and they don't really adapt to the idea of the music. I think that together with the fact that this track doesn't really have that impact because you intentionally kind of removed all of the impact from the kick, I suppose. It would probably be nice to give a little bit of impact back to the kick. I think that's gonna sound better. It's a bit loopy sounding, this kick and snare pattern the same way. Yeah, I do agree. It can be a little bit the same thing over and over again. And I think depending on how you want to adapt that, like as I said, you can go through the track and do cool extra automations with delay and reverb to really build the tension with your leads more and that kind of thing. And also like opening up filter cutoffs and whatnot, because that is, say, in the break, really what was missing for me. Like this synth doesn't really evolve, it doesn't really like open up or something, or there isn't an extra layer coming in or anything like that. It's just the sound playing. So stuff like that, you can definitely make it more interesting by just adding extra automations on top of it. Yeah, it needs a little bit of weight behind the kick. The kick needs definitely to have a little bit of to it, you know, that kind of feeling. And then it's probably a good idea to scoop out the bass. And what I like to do with these kind of respacers sometimes is that delayed sidechain effect, so that the kick stops playing and only then does the sidechain come up. Like the sidechain isn't, what you're essentially then doing is you're essentially making the sidechain longer than it needs to be for the mixing purpose, such that you have like a groove to it. Imagine it coming into the track like an eighth note behind the kick, for example, instead of like smoothly gliding into the kick drum, which is normally how you would like use sidechain, no? So that you have like a nice flat waveform and that it's not clashing or anything, but that you still have like the bass line the loudest possible throughout the whole thing. A defined gap after the kick before the bass comes back. Yeah, and then having that gap through sidechain as opposed to like actually in the MIDI or anything like that, because then, right, you don't want the bass to suddenly start playing, right? Like the you don't want it to do that it has like to the bass line as well when it starts to play. You want it to kind of like slide up, and that is done through the sidechain, but you just have the sidechain come in later than the kick requires for just mixing purposes, I guess. Check if there's any patrons. 1, 2. Since we have so many tracks, no, I'm gonna be okay with 2, I think. As I said, I'm gonna do 2 hours of feedback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're still on 14. It would almost be time to close the queue now, but that feels a little bit bad to do that 22 minutes in, but that would be where, if I wanted to just do this for 2 hours, I would probably have to end. We'll see. We'll see. I'll play one or two more tracks, and then I'll see what the queue is like. So, Childish Deity, free download by Jlight. This is some offbeat proggy, but I would still appreciate your opinion very much, sir. Why do people always assume that if it's not the exact psytrance that I make, that it's not okay to post? Or even when it's not psytrance? Like, I don't care. I have never, in any way, shape, or form,
I'm glad you all came here.
Like, said that I would not accept certain music.
Together. Isn't this beautiful? I mean, this experience is so magical. Like a creamy cake. Look how gorgeous you are. Let's start.
Very hollow sounding kick. There's a little bit of that to it. Completely destroyed transients here on your bass line. So this is losing basically all the punch. No idea what's going on.
Gorgeous. You are gorgeous. Gorgeous. You are gorgeous. Gorgeous.
This is sounding more like something that you would be able to understand. Even here, these effects are a little bit loud.
You know, every step backwards is a step forward in another direction. We should not forget that we don't know which direction is meant for us.
I don't like it when bass steps and that kind of stuff are significantly louder than the bass from your actual kick and bass. You're the kind of producer that wants to do all of the cool things in their production, and they think the more cool things you have in your production, the better the production is.
Wait,
it feels
wait a
like
second.
it's very
You want to tell me that
unstructured.
space is actually expanding, although it is infinite? If this is true, then the concept of expansion must stand above the concept of space itself. Oh, sorry, let's keep dancing.
Like, there isn't really a true groove through this part, for example. This has it a little bit more, actually, this last part, but before it felt... There's moments where I can definitely see what you're trying to go for, but it feels like very chaotic. I mean, your sound design and your mixing is definitely on point. So all that you would definitely need to like look for the most, I would say, is the structure.
Oh, please, can we finish the song a bit more hard? That would be so cool. Cool.
This bass line also has that nasally feel to it that the kick also has. Almost has a Melbourne bounce feel to it. Yeah. This is pretty much Melbourne bounce if you think about kind of what it used to be, which was like a more minimal version of this, right? Where you have the offbeat bass and then you add all kinds of small details on top of it and small different noises. And then it became like the big melody on it, and it's more of an EDM idea. Kind of like what VG Vini did to Psytrance. Like, take this Watch, for example. It feels like within, say, the 2 bars, it just kind of plays in random spots. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's structurally not where it needs to be, this track, but other than that, it is pretty much perfect, I would say. Like, mix-wise, as I said, the kick and bass tonality, and you definitely need a little bit of cleaning on the kick and bass, and the resampling part and all of that stuff, but the overall balance was decent. There were a few volumes where you could say, like, okay, that is very overpowering. One of the things that you often hear is risers and downlifters being too loud. I really hate it when you have that kind of riser that just plays throughout the whole drop and it's just continuously going up. Because really the energy, to me, it feels like it should be rising towards the end of the drop. Or like in the middle, you're not really worrying about the transition yet, but towards the end, that is where you start to like think about, okay, when is it going to go into the next section? So that is where the risers kind of come in to kind of guide you into the next section, right? A riser isn't the main element. A riser isn't a musical idea. A riser isn't something that you can dance to. A riser isn't something that is interesting to listen to. It's usually not a very interesting sound, right? It's just like just continuously rising up. Because that, at the end of the day, that's really the point for it. So for me, a riser should really be just like in the background of all of the other elements. Structure the elements as they are supposed to be. Yeah, so that slide, for example, that was in there, I believe it played like on the second beat, the fourth beat, and then the seventh beat or something like that, every 2 bars, right? That is like a really strange structure. It went like zouk, 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 something like that. It isn't really a groove that it's like naturally danceable. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of structural things that I'm talking about, where you're not really creating a consistent groove, you're not really creating a consistent idea, because every element is just kind of placed in there. And you're focused more a little bit on trying to do the cool sound design thing, trying to do the maybe the cool mixing thing, those really strong bass steps that are way too powerful in the mix, where that there's really a lot of bass coming at you. That it sounds cool, but as long as it doesn't really work in a musical context, it's not really going to get people dancing, right? Because at the end of the day, a non-producer doesn't really know about all of the cool tricks that we do. That is only really interesting for everybody else that is a producer. You can write a track in such a way that it's only interesting for other producers because of all of the cool stuff that you're doing. But generally speaking, you want to write more for just a general audience, so that it's just in general nice to dance to. And then once you have that part established, and once you're good enough at that, then you can start to implement all of the cool tricks that you know into actual, well-working productions. Okay, moving on to Mishmash by Opsy. Let's see, really cool cover art here. I like that a lot. I might need to boost this one in volume.
Listen here, I got 2 pills. The red pill, which is pure, unadulterated insanity, and the blue pill, which will let you hold on to a structured system. What the f***?
Very short kick drum. Not really a fan of all of those rattle things being louder than the kick. Also, white noise with a bandpass on it, that's...
This is all a reason. Life is a
Overall sound design wise, this is a very cool sounding track. It's just a bit of a strange vibe because... yeah, I don't like the kick and bass. I don't even really know what's happening with the bass line itself, why it's showing up so strangely, what you're trying to do here. Like, why is this all rumble? Very loud synths there. Is it too late to send the track? No. Ah, this one is playing... Wait. It does not... First of all, this doesn't have a sub then. Even if it doesn't have a stop, why would this stuff be so rumbly still? Like, I get that it's lower here, because this is like a lower wave cycle, right? But I don't get why it's continuously rumbly. Like, even with it playing now as a bassline, it doesn't really sound good either to me. I think maybe more of a sliding bassline or something like that would work better here. The kick is almost just transient with no body. Exactly, yes. You can definitely make that kick longer if you want to. Give it a little bit more. Something that hits you a little bit more in the chest.
Iemand zou eigenlijk Mishmash zien. Maar? Mishmash zien.
Not really a fan of the fact that the modulation is just the same over and over again every bar. Same with the rhythm. Yeah, this track is a little bit all over the place, the mix is a little bit all over the place. The sound design is cool, and I get the idea that you're trying to go for, maybe. Although for this kind of dark vibe for a track, I think this part doesn't really work. I try to go like high energy here, but because the bassline is so wonky, it doesn't really convince me. Dominikas, welcome. Xsync, by the way, welcome as well. Bo is SR80. No, I'm not. No idea what's going on with that set. It sounds very, very cool.
This trip is getting crazy, man.
Do not be afraid.
What the hell is even that?
I like his re-recording of known memes and that kind of stuff with his own voice. I would love if this had more power in the bass line. Yeah, exactly. The kick and bass definitely can be better. As I said, I would probably go with a deep force sliding bass kind of deal here, as opposed to this. How would you even describe it? Is this like a attempt at just to be rumbly? Like, would you call this like a rumble bass? I guess. By the way, this track is 11 minutes long. 11 and a half minutes. That's quite a listen. Empty drink bottle fell, and because I had headphones on, it sounded a little bit strange. It sounded like a truck ran into the house. You know, sometimes like you also speak louder when you're wearing headphones, and sometimes things sound very loud if you're simultaneously listening to music or something like that. It might got picked up on the mic. Maybe make it a bit more interesting with transition between each 16. I was gonna say, I like that you have unique sound design throughout it. But a few more fills and that kind of stuff would definitely be helpful. You're doing a lot of stuff with like lower octaves and whatnot. This track would go harder with a fish-shaped kick than not just a transient, whatever you call it. I get it, some are afraid of phase issues. Yeah, to be honest, I would, as I said, I would go with a sliding bass here, and then it doesn't really matter what the length of the kick is, because at the end of the day, the whole point of sliding bass is that you extend those lowest few frequencies anyway, right? Of the kick drum, so that you can make the kick very short and then just synthesize essentially the whole sustain of the kick out of your sliding bass. That being said, it can be the case that, what tends to be the case is if you have a too short kick, that also the pitch envelope in the lower part doesn't really come through, and that is where you're going to get a lot of the punch from. So in this case, what that would mean is that simply the kick doesn't have enough time to go through those like mid-range lower frequencies, right? From say like 500 hertz up until 100 hertz. That is a very important area for the punch of the kick. So that would be the reason why I would also, make the kick a little bit longer so that you can make more use of that frequency area. Kind of the area that generally sits in between the kick drum and or the transient of the kick drum and like the sub boom of the kick drum. The usual, indeed, fish ship area is where we actually turn it down, right? In volume. You have like a very strong transient, and then as the frequencies goes lower and lower, it goes down a little bit, and then you have the hump of the lowest frequency over here, right? So this is kind of where it rolls down usually, and then you have it a little bit lower, and then really because it covers so much, it is louder, but it's on the spectrum it says the same loudness. The bass was way too quiet for me. For me it was just way too muddy, and yeah, it was a bit of a strange bass. So music not for stream, that is where I upload a track. Yes, the channel stated that it's specifically not for live streaming, is where you put the music for the live stream. Huh? No, of course not. If it's not for live streaming, then it's not for live streaming. Scroll down a little bit and then you'll get to the music for live stream. Have you done this? Feedback on stream? There. I mean, it's literally in the name. Feedback not for stream. It's under stream, yes. Feedback for stream. There's so many people that don't find it immediately. I feel like maybe for some people, this channel is like just... can you go away so that I can share what I wanted to show? Yeah, like this. Maybe some people see it like this. Like I have it for the Patreon and the global stuff. That thing that we once set up where in between Discord, we had an idea that in between different Discord servers, because, you know, I have a Discord server, Ollie has a Discord server. Everybody has their own Discord server. We wanted to do a thing where it would globally go through all things, but this system never really worked, at least as we intended. But I feel like maybe for some people the stream is just collapsed like this, and that's why they don't find it. But like if you, because you already need to scroll to get to like feedback on stream and this kind of stuff, right? Then wouldn't you just scroll further? Reading is hard, yes. True. It is. For some people, it definitely is. Next up, we have Xsync with You're Tripping. No, I'm not. I would sure love to be, but I'm not. False advertising. We are indeed starting off very, very trippy. I like that little ARP thing that you have going on. I would love to have that a little bit more in the foreground. I don't like that bass already coming in before it. I do like the kick and bass now that it started. It's sounding nice. Actually a bit of a... yeah. I don't like... I cannot zoom in horizontally, unfortunately. But I'm not a fan of those bass lines where they have multiple clicks after each other. They get like a kind of sound. I feel like this bass line has a little bit of that. You cannot really hear it now, but once it's a bit more isolated, it will be better. Drums not really cutting through the mix. I'm hoping for a nice that kind of thing, but it's not really coming through. why do I feel like there's like a constant wash on everything that's not like the lowest few frequencies here? I feel like you can even see it, like there's almost like constant noise in the background here, like very soft here. Maybe like a constant very low reverb that you put on everything. Like even these FM synths, right? They're like noisy, like they're not really gritty. In my opinion, it would be nicer to have the melody as your front element and the FM synths and all of that stuff as your support element. No one is safe from projectors. I mean, they submit themselves, so everybody that submits is not safe from it. Everybody that never submits to the feedback stream is absolutely safe. I don't go by random people's houses screaming at them for not cleaning their kick and bass. Finally, we have a few synths where they're nicely like staccato and they are given like a bit more space. There's still some areas here where it feels a little bit washed out still. But there was that one moment. Yeah, this one's in. That is the kind of vibe that I would like to get a little bit more in this track. You know, the staccato, tight. This is your place in the mix. That would be funny though. You know, you can get arrested for going around people's houses and checking if they have cleaned their low end. At least that was what I've heard. Their bottom end. That's how the joke goes. I once said something like very similar in a short about like, do you have a clean low end? And somebody like made the obvious joke there. So that's what it reminds me of. Someone that is not a fan of this sample, I will say that I like it overall. Yes, overall this is a great track. It's just that I feel like it suffers from, like, as I said, that washing feeling. I don't know really what it is. If you tell me that there's like a slight room reverb on the master, I would almost believe you. Even if I can hear the click of the kick very cleanly. It feels like everything is just kind of being washed into each other. And often when you hear like stuff like high tech, it's really sharp, it's really direct, it's really, oh, here's one lead, here's the next lead, here's the next thing, you know what I mean? I'd be that after 2 of your tracks. Okay, overall great track. As I said, the main issue that I have with it is the washing out. Towards the end there, it felt like it became a little bit tighter. So there, you're definitely going into the right direction. Also in terms of like how you arrange stuff and how synths cut each other off and whatnot. I remember with high tech, it's really, really important. And I think that is the reason why I failed as well, is because it is really, really important that you have this, as I said, like, okay, here is one synth that is playing, and then it stops. And then there's another synth that's playing, and then it stops. And then it's another synth that's playing, and then it stops. If you can get that effect a little bit more, if you can get that wash out of there, I think you're golden. And I think part of that can also do with giving a little boost to the high frequencies in the drums. What I would also look for personally, but that is more of a personal taste thing and not really like something that I would say that is objectively an improvement that you could make, but from a taste thing, is I would remove that effect that you have on your bass line where you get those clicks after the first initial transient click. I like it when, especially on these super fast bass lines where it's a single click, it's just choop, and then it's just like the lower sustained mid-range and whatnot. I see a lot of people do that where in the waterfall display, you can see multiple clicks for the bass line. Personally, I only really like it if it's one click. If it's one tuck, that is the indication of the grid, the 16 note. That little click is there, and then for the rest, it's just more in the mid range and in the low frequencies that the bass line actually exists. All right, so we're now an hour in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close the feedback queue for today. Since there are so many more tracks still to listen to, this is probably going to get us an hour of more content. When will I be the 5th? Okay. Does that mean that this track here? Oh, that's okay. Because sometimes there they ask for feedback, and then you have to say like, oh no, that's not the right place. Anyway, next up we have Mateus Z28011, also known as Better Message with Past, with a completely black background. It's very cluttered in my opinion. Yeah, it's not like it's not wrong from a mixing standpoint or whatnot, at least, or from a structuring standpoint. I think there is a mix thing that you can do to make stuff clearer. Very loud bass line for the kick. You can turn the bass down by 5 dB probably. I like the sound design that you're going for here. Not a fan of the clap. I think at some point it's probably also good to remove the orchestral drums and focus on maybe some like actual hats in here. Really aren't walking out of the mix the way that you want them to. Seem to have a massive reverb on them, which I don't see why you would do that. I like a bit of dimension expander. A little bit of early reflections is okay, but anything with late reflections is probably not good on your top one. Because now you have that kind of hat as opposed to just a tick of that. I think you have all the right ideas. It's mainly the mixing department that I would try to focus on more here. Like your bassline being louder than your kick should probably never happen. Another thing that you should look out for is that your kick transient is lower in frequency than your bass transient. For some reason it's whenever you kick or do anything. So the bass transient is kind of starting here. And the kick transient only really starts here. Like there's hats on top of course, but the kick starts lower than the bassline does. Which sounds a little bit odd. I would do it the other way around. Hello Shadow Rage. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, I like this groove. With those little bells at the end, very nice. Not really a lot of progression into that. Didn't really feel like it made it known that the kick and bass was going to play again. just maybe like a small kick and bass riser in or something like that. You know, to fill the kick and bass in, that kind of stuff. Can definitely be nice for that. Kind of reminds me of Chemschelze by Zedirium and Altway. Maybe use it as a reference. That is a good idea to get a proper reference track for something like this. It would definitely help you correct the mixing issues that this track has. Do you listen to old Goa trance? Not really, no. Man, that clap it really is terrible sounding. Just tonally, not really the vibe for this track, I would say. Honestly, I don't even think this kind of dark side uses the snare that way, right? It's usually like percussive snares on top of it, and not really like real snare. Okay, we have a lot of long tracks today. That one also was like almost 9 minutes. I guess that is what you get if you're giving feedback on sidetrans and you're only known for accepting sidetrans in your feedback stream. Anyway, next up we have Changa with What Is This Place? I do agree, that doesn't seem like the kind of place I would want to be in. And I would question the reality of my senses if I were in that place as well. Thank you, a lot of valuable feedback, you're welcome. I'm glad it's helpful. Not really the most exciting start yet, just some noise, I guess. I would probably not switch the kick and bass from low pass filter to high pass filters like this halfway through. Just have it come in high pass. Completely mono bassline for such a progressive idea is a bit strange. A little bit of stereonization is always nice. Overall, this track is, I would say, a little bit heavy on the lowest frequencies here. Can definitely be a little less strong, especially the sub of the kick sometimes feels very boomy. Working on the producer as well, and the bass. Okay. Honestly, it almost sounds like you really wanted to write a dark side track, and you kind of caught up in with the wrong people, and they are forcing you to make a progressive track. Because I feel like the synth work doesn't really work with the kick and bass that you're going for here. I feel like there should be like a dark side rolling kick and bass under this. I don't even really know what's happening now. There's like 2 FM synths playing together, and one is mono and one is super stereo or something like that. Sorry, audio, Adrian, the feedback is over. I should probably update my title. Feedback of the stream. Like this. Use kick and bass from a different track, replace the ones here with a more harder rolling bass. Exactly, yes. Link to my Discord just got posted by the bot, Saturate, but this should also work. Yeah, there's like one sound in here that I would say works well with the kick and bass, and that's that nice wow kind of chord thingy happening. That really has the kind of warmth feeling that I would generally associate more with the progressive style. Like all of this stuff sounds more dark side to me. So I played this at a party last weekend and people enjoyed it. I'm not saying that this music isn't enjoyable. When it comes to my feedback, it's not about like, is it enjoyable or not, is it bad or not, that kind of stuff. I used to have a student who used to get drunk with his friends, and every single track they would say like, oh, you made this track, you made it so amazing, and all of his friends would hype him up, and they were just, you know, getting drunk, doing cocaine and all of that stuff, and then the music becomes enjoyable, right? But when you're in the studio trying to write the best music possible, that is not really a strategy to value that kind of stuff as much as a more objective feedback. So I guess I'm not saying that that's what happened last time when you played it, that it's exactly that, but at the end of the day, when people are drunk, they don't really care as much about the details as when people are in the studio actively trying to make the music better. If you submit a track for Alpha Boys, don't waste your time and just play it at the parties. Yeah, the feedback is, I guess, different. It's different than just a couple of friends when you're drunk, when you're having a good time, because you'll dance to anything. I know for a fact that there's a lot of music that I would dance to for a whole evening. I've done like evenings of 80s music, right? I was born at the end of the 90s, so that's music that has no sentimental value for me. And you just go out dancing because you're with friends and you're having fun. I've done those kind of evenings, but I will never listen to like 80s music, or if I'm sober, or if I'm doing anything else, just enjoying that kind of music. But if you're drunk, if you're out, if you're having a good time, then that's a good thing to do. I don't think that that kind of feedback from that kind of crowd is necessarily the best feedback. I mean, I just wanted to say that people enjoyed it. It was like 600, 700 in the crowd underground party. Yeah, I mean, it depends, but those people were probably there for a party to dance. And as long as the kick and bass allows them to do that, and there's some stuff on top that is interesting enough, then it's good enough for them. But that doesn't mean that it's good enough for like somebody that listens to Psytrance for a living, right? Which is my job. At the end of the day, there's always stuff that you can improve about the track. And the other thing that I should say is that I don't point out a lot of positive things. I don't feel like it's very valuable for me to sit here and say, I like that, and I like that. Because you don't really learn anything from that. Of course, I can go through basically any track here that is played and just say things that I like. But that doesn't really teach you anything. And sometimes people take it as an attack when I'm overly negative. It has nothing to do with the person. It's the same way that I have an argument. If I have an argument or discussion with somebody, I can be very, very direct and I can be very in your face. But that says nothing about how I feel to you as a person, or in this case with the feedback, how I feel to you as a musician when giving you feedback. It is, I'm just looking at the content that you provide me, or the argument that you provide me, and I attack that, and I value that, and I look at that, and I keep that fully in isolation from the person, the producer, stuff you've done before, things you've said before. All right, in the analogy here, if you have a discussion and somebody says like, oh, this and this and this is my opinion, I'm not the kind of person that is going to say like, oh, but 3 years ago we had this kind of discussion, and that was your opinion then, right? I don't really like doing stuff on or attacking a person, to say it like that. It's more about, okay, you present this piece of work and you're probably interested in finding out where all of the areas of improvements are. So I just give you a list of all of the areas of improvement. So that is all that I'm doing here. It's not I'm not trying to say like your track isn't enjoyable, or your track cannot be enjoyed in any way, or your track can only be enjoyed by people that are completely fucked up and therefore it doesn't count as a track, right? At the end of the day, people that are drunk is a massive target audience. It is completely fine to target that as a target audience, if that's what you want to do. I think you can probably do better by, I wouldn't even say focusing not on writing music for only drunk people, because that's never what people do, but not taking that as, say, your main opinion. I like 90s big beat music because I like the sound itself regardless of era. It's all about liking the sound itself. Projected. If you dissect trance into separate elements, do you like all of them? I don't know. No. I don't know. Just listening to a riser, I guess, is not... Yeah, no. I don't really know how to answer that question, to be honest. Like at the end of the day, is a track is the combination of all of the elements that you put in it. So even talking about the individual elements to a certain extent doesn't really make sense if you don't consider the context. That's the target audience for Max Profit, yes. Next up, we have Sounder here. A bit different style, slow, work in progress. Might not be live watching, but I'll revisit the stream when I'm not there in real time. Thanks in advance. Okay, so Psychill in troep. Psychill in Troopic 3. I guess. My point is, if you dissect your favorite genre into separate elements, chances are that you like separate elements, and that's why you like the genre. Yeah, but I don't really know how you would like actually dissect stuff then. Are you just saying like individual sounds? Did you mute your kick? Aha. In that case, I would lower the bass and volume at the start there. All of these pads are very, very dry. You would expect there to be like a big delay tail and reverb tail to fill up the space between them, no? Because now this is just empty. High pass for the intro bass would have done the trick. Yeah, personally, when you want to keep the lowest harmonic, I would always a fan of at least like lowering the volume of it so that it has more impact in the drop. But high passing does the same thing because you just remove a lot of the actual sub content that makes the sound loud, right? Not really the elements that you often hear in a Sybian track, I think. Oh, that's it. That's the end of it. I feel like Sybian has more ambient. As I said before, with the pads, they felt completely dry. Like there's a small reverb on top of them, but like I believe the minimum for a pad like that would be something like Black Hole. Right? That's strange that the menu thing wasn't working. Say that you have like the atmosphere. Here, right? Just one of those. You want the ones that fade in a bit more. Say that this is your atmosphere. This one already has more reverb on it, right? Okay, no reverb, but we do have like a chorus echo, so this is doing something that sounds similar to reverb, and then it has a long release. And maybe the sample itself already has a reverb. But even this kind of stuff, if you want to turn that into real like atmosphere for something like psytrance or even psyambient in this case, I would add even more delay and reverb. So delay, like you throw Echo Boy on it, and here maybe like the clean tape is a nice big one. So that's already fading out a little bit more, and it keeps a little bit of rhythm in the fade out. And then Black Hole is just like massive in terms of reverb, right? Parallel chain pad with reverb or something. Why not just put the reverb on the pad? Like I do, right? I just put the sound and then I have a delay on it and a reverb on it. And then you just make them big. You can set nice high dry wets here. This one is at a mix of 50-50. There's no need to complicate that kind of thing. If somebody says like, oh, just throw a big reverb on that, then it's just that. You just throw a big reverb on that, which means like nice big sound, which the Black Hole already does, because that's what it's known for. And then probably a high mix, right? You don't have to overcomplicate things with parallel chains and all of that kind of stuff, unless there's something very specific that you're trying to get at. Have you tried Logic? I used to study Logic back in university, but I don't think that that's the kind of Logic that you mean. Okay, let me get back into the feedback. Why are you not there? Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Lotus Matrix with Shotgun of the Taco Dynasty. Okay. Immediate start here. Kick and bass is very much bleeding into each other. Very continuous. It almost looks like you left the sub from the kick on and it just plays up until the next kick plays. Like this is a continuous sub here. You definitely want to, cut here, cut there, cut there. Not really clear what is going on energy level wise. The mix is a bit all over the place. Like the drums are barely there. There's very big percussive drums through everything. I'm trying to understand what you're trying to do with the energy flow, because you were raising up very, very high towards the end of that last drop, and now we're just staying low again. took phase alignment to the next level. It is just track alignment. It's just, the whole thing is aligned. Yeah, but that's not a good thing, by the way. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Trying some new stuff. I'm particularly interested in the cohesiveness of the me. Of the me. Or of the mix. I think that's what he's trying to say. The cohesiveness of the mix. To be honest, if this is a mix, it is all over the place. There's not a lot of clarity to it. Because you're missing a lot of the drums. I think compression is going to be your best friend. Another thing that you definitely need to look into is cleaning your kick and bass. And then finally, overall, more just the writing of the track. It starts by going up very loud, out of nowhere, right? This big arp comes in, even as the track itself is like low energy. The sudden big strong arp comes in, it raises to a high point, and then you say, okay, this is where we go into the strong part of the track, and then it just goes into this plucky, like soft, not too aggressive, not too in your face kind of synth. So just the musical message that this part of the track is trying to send doesn't really make sense to me. How do you clean your kick and bass? I have a tutorial for this, and that I usually link immediately, but now it took a little bit of time. Here. That's how you clean your kick and bass. One of the steps that most not even most beginners, most people tend to forget in Sidelines production is that we don't leave our bassline to be just the processing on the bassline. I guess that comes from not really any other genre doing that. I cannot think of any other genre where it's like almost required to clean your kick and bass and to worry that much about phase and all of that stuff. Is this video applicable to other electronic genres? You can take the theory and put it into other electronic genres for sure, yeah. Definitely. Always worth watching videos about other genres to get ideas. I do that a lot. I watch a lot of, I guess, the color bass kind of sphere. I used to watch a lot, and now it's more like more back to normal dubstep and whatnot. It goes back and forth, and of course, like techno is always there. There's always people making videos about techno. The Belgium guy, Underdog. What is his name again? But the other bold YouTuber. There's not very many of us. But yeah, having multiple genres to take from is definitely a good idea. Next up, we have Con with Munchie, which is also what I have. The Munchies. Very deep start here. That distortion on the kick sounded really nasty up until the exact moment that hat came in. Right? Like once you cover it even a little bit, it just adds a little bit of nice warmth to it, but once you hear it on its own, it sounds terrible. I think if you were to go back and listen to that first part and decide like, oh, I don't want... Wait, why is the bass? hollow here. Completely changed tone. Why is there an extra harmonic in your... Why do you have an harmonic here? You added an extra sine wave to like the perfect fifth there? Why? I don't know exactly what is all happening in the low frequencies, but this is very full. This is not really sounding solid. That's a strange idea to have. That sweep up build up thing as an effect. Vocal is nice. Oh. Oh, there you have to fix it. Like the Leonardo meme, suddenly you hear the vocal cut out, it's like, oh, oh. This track is very, very loud. In the break it's constantly hitting 0. So you're definitely losing like impact from your drop. Especially because the bass is also playing, so you're not going to get like extra weight. Apart from the extra harmonic removing a lot of the weight from the bass itself. It hypes up so much and then it goes to nothing. This very underwhelming start of the drop here. Not really a fan of this whoosh 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 kind of thing either here. I would probably turn that into a normal riser. My biggest wonder is what the hell is happening with this extra harmonic here. Are you playing chords with your bass line? Because otherwise that would mean that you would have sound designed that thing in there. No, because it also has overtones. I wanted to ask, how do I find my style as an artist? I don't know. It's different for everybody. How did I find my style? Oh yeah. Mine came from behind here, behind this thing. It depends on where it is in your house. No, I don't know this. No, finding your style is something that is like one of those eternal questions in production, right? That is not something that I can explain in a 2-minute clip or 2-minute explanation or soundbite or whatever. At the end of the day, it's just doing a lot. And through doing a lot of production, there's going to be the processes and the tricks that stand out to you and that result in the results that you like. And that is going to be your style. But at the end of the day, there isn't really such thing as like a, I would say like a personal style. Because for example, I am a very stubborn kind of person. I like to do things my way. I like to do things very, very structured. And I recently just completely like switched psytrance genre, right? I'm working on the album, which is on the more progressive side of the full-on. And then I'm going to go and like 2 tracks after that, I'm going to be releasing stuff that is sounding like this. Right? So I'll play... Hello? I'll play 2 tracks. One is going to be the album track, or an album track, right? And then something that I'm working on now. So this is what the album stuff is going to sound like. You know, nice and progressive, nice and happy. Na, 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 na. That's kind of the vibe that I'm going for before. And then after that, my new style, which as you can see is less than 20 productions, or exactly 20 productions later, is this. If I remember correctly, I added another layer with the 5th. Why? Why would you do that? Sorry. With that bass, why? I would, with that bass line, I would just honestly don't muddy up the lowest frequencies with chords. Just have like a stable bass line there so that you have a nice octave in the lowest parts and you get like a nice warm bass out of it. Having that extra 5th in there just muddies up everything and you can kind of feel how hollow that whole area sounded, even though it was full of frequencies. That is because there's just too much going on there. But yeah, back to the styles. At the end of the day, like the style, it is not something that is hopefully going to be consistent either, right? Because you're, as a good artist, you should be evolving continuously. Like you should be progressing your sounds, right? So if you're trying to find something that is like really a style, you're going to get V9. For those that that remember that old school era, every single V9 track sounded exactly the same. They had the exact same kick, the exact same bass, the exact same synths playing slightly different melodies, and then some high vocals on top of it. And I wouldn't say like a huge fan of them, but I listened to some of their music. I heard a few of their tracks and I was like, oh, that's cool. They try a few different melodies with this kind of style. And then I went to like an evening that they hosted right in a club and where they were DJing for an hour and a half. And I realized like, wait a second, these people do nothing else. It's like they only know how to open a single preset, write in the same kind of melody, and do the same processing, and that's the only thing that they know how to do. And outside of that, nothing, right? You kind of want to avoid that, in my opinion. I think that's more important than finding a style. Like, does that really matter? Because really, a style only really matters if you have a fan base, and 99% of the people that make music have no fan base whatsoever. So for them, it shouldn't really be important. Like, because a style, or like more the consistency, I guess, is what the fans of you are drawn to. If you don't have a fan base, I think it's much more fun just producing in a way that, you do a bit of everything. And that is kind of what I also would like to do. I have a bit of a fan base for my music. It's like I have 100 listeners on Spotify, but if I start uploading something else, there isn't going to be mass outcry from a fan base that is saying like, oh, we like it when you did with the old stuff and that kind of thing. I literally couldn't care, right? Can you reaccess analyze my video? No. No, I don't do reaction. Reaction content is toxic. It harms the creator ecosystem, and I wish not to contribute to that. It is also illegal, and in this case not because you give me permission, but in most cases it is completely illegal. So I don't want to condone that. I'm also not taking new submissions right now for feedback and that kind of stuff, Simar. As you can see, the submissions are closed. We're just closing out with all of the tracks that we have here. How many do we have? And I should be taking a break, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 more tracks. Well, then I'm definitely not going to get the schedule that I wanted to do. But I'm taking a quick break, just refreshing my ears a little bit. And why not put this track on? The progressive one that I played before as an example. Okay, please do listen once when you got time and comments. No thanks. No. I'm sorry. If you want me to at least listen to a track, then either submit it when the feedback queue is actually open, or you can post it in my Discord. I'm not going to hunt out for your channel and look up your videos. That's not how it works. If you want me to listen to your track, you have to at least try to make it easy for me to do so. And even then, it's not a guarantee, because a lot of the stuff in the feedback channels I just never react to, and music you release, music you like, I never really react to that, because at the end of the day, we don't all have time for that. You know? Yeah. Otherwise, you just wait until January 5th when the next stream is, and then you submit then. Either way, taking a quick break. I'll be right back. Hope you guys enjoy the music, and then we'll listen. Once I get back, we'll listen to yours again. Okay. I hope that that's enjoyable. Very nice track. That melody, that last melody is really what I like the most about this particular track. And mainly because of the way that I made it. I can close out of this because we're gonna change that anyway. This melody is purely generated by hand, but not in the way that you think. The way that I did this, you may notice that it almost sounds like it's like a filter modulation in the way that it kind of goes up and down, right? And that is because I actually wrote it in with my MIDI like slider controller. The way that you do that, for people that want to know, is you record over a setup that is somewhat like this, right? Where you have the arpeggiator in front of it, and then you have a pitch modulation over here, and then you quantize it with a scale. So you put in the scale that you want over here, whatever you want. I think this even comes with like presets. Yeah. So you just put the, I don't know, Frisian mode is what we want here. And you want to write in G sharp. And then all you have to do is set a limit modulation for this on your MIDI controller so that you can like go up and down while it's recording. And because of the scale here, it's always going to be in scale. So that is the whole idea behind it. But it gives you a really cool, natural, kind of flowy melody. And this never repeats. So it really feels like not handwritten, right? This stuff over here. Where is it? This is just like a repeating melody. Like we have so many. But stuff like this is really unique because of that. Because of the way that it's written. And I guess now I spoiled it, so now everybody's gonna do it. Okay. Moving on back to the feedback, let's listen to Pete here. I submitted this hard trance like track last week, but it was way too loud. Maybe you remember. There were a few tracks last week that were too loud. I think like 3 or 4. So this time I tried to tone it down a little in the mix, and now it's and this is now the current master. I think it could be a little too loud, but if I was afraid that it could end up too soft. It is better to do too soft than to have it too loud, especially if you're planning on like releasing this on Spotify and whatnot. Their too loud stuff is really going to sound terrible. Anyway, Hard Trancey 4 Master. Hard Trancey 4 Master. Many low rumbling frequencies that you don't need in there. I would say a little bit more lowering the subs here. I feel like the subs are a little bit on the loud side. A lot of the musical mid-range information is coming through, especially that last melody just didn't really feel right. The way it sits in the mix. I guess it's just like washed out, isn't it? Barely hear any of the melodies that are playing. How did I lose half my viewers in one break? This one definitely still has issues, like the rumbling, and I think the mix can definitely be balanced better. Just like the volume balanced a little bit better. But overall, compared to last time, because I do remember this track now, it is better in terms of the loudness. This track is really super loud. I disagree. I think it's a good loud. Now in the break we're actually giving it a little bit of space, a little bit of, you can see in the waveform it's not squashed up all the way. In the last render this was fully up, squashed. Yeah, I think this one is good loudness wise. Now it's time to look into the definition of the mix and the definition of all of the melodies and that kind of stuff. This one is better, this melody, the way it sits in there. But there's a lot of stuff happening. Suddenly there's like a below it, which really just doesn't need to be there. What is that, like a big brass step or something? See, now the melody is completely inaudible. It's still there, but there's like big that kind of stuff, which isn't really adding anything to this track. Madsen, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Do some notes for that part of the art. Use the notes from that pad as part of the art octave to give some variation to the art. I would just not use a pad in there. Why would you layer a pad below like the high energy part of the track? The whole point of a pad is that it's like a soft element, right? This doesn't really scream softness to me. Instead of the pad. Aha. Yeah, even then, like, honestly, I would just remove that pad, and that would be probably it. Because the melody doesn't really change much over time. Yeah, then I would just, I guess, shorten that melody part, because that's like 3 sections long. I would just shorten that by like 2 sections. And then you just have the melody and then you go into a different type of element. But I wouldn't really try to incorporate stuff like a slow melody into this kind of track, right? Because the slow melody, even if you were to play it with the notes of the actual sound, it's just going to slow the whole track down, I think. So I would just remove it. And that counts for a lot of this kind of stuff. This whole brass stuff that you were doing down below there, it felt the same here in the start. This part here. Now there's 2 sounds playing. Right, there's that melody, that plucky melody. that is almost not coming through because there's like super saws that are continuously playing, that is just distracting from the melody. It's not really adding anything because it doesn't really speed up the track. It doesn't really like add aggression to it. What is much better is to leave that space for the main element and distort that main element if you want some extra grittiness, or you want some extra raw power, right? Then you just distort that thing and just keep it simple, keep it to one element. Because this is dance music at the end of the day. It needs to be simple. It needs to be something that makes you move. So a repeating constant melody that doesn't change too much over time is exactly what you're after. Thank you for checking, as always, our tracks. This is a track that I'm currently working on. Rework ID Stream. We have so many tracks that are long today. I, for a few minutes, just lost like 6 viewers, and now everybody's back again. Is my music that terrible? Nice rumble here. I like it. I was gonna say that pluck. I was hoping that pluck would come back, but it appears it hasn't. There was like a pluck on the offbeat in your intro that had click to it, to the sample. Ooh, I like this. Mix can be a bit sharper. It's again one of those mixes where it just feels like everything is washed a bit too much. I still think you put like actual reverb on your drums. Stop doing that. Because now the drum is sounding like it's washing, right? It's not really tick 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 tick, which is kind of the techno vibe that you want to go for. Whoa, that goes hard, sorry. I've never seen somebody apologize for a compliment. Bass, line, and kick as mono, no reverb. Yes, the drums. The top drums, your hats, that kind of stuff. Like right now, the offbeat hat kind of... Right, it doesn't bite. It's just kind of sitting on top, being washed. And this is just in general the problem that you have with your tracks, because you're such a big fan of way too big reverbs, and as you told to me before, you're a big fan of specifically black hole. That's what you're going to get. Everything is going to sound washed. Everything is going to sound like it doesn't have the sharpness that you want. By the way, this is 2 stereo. You can see this would cancel mono. I have to go thank you for the feedback on my track. You're welcome. Thank you for sticking around. part is unfinished, so there will be more uploads. Okay, yeah. Just in general for a break, it's maybe a little bit on the long side for a techno track. Unless you're an edgy teenager on TikTok, most techno fans actually do enjoy when it's just continuous dancing. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell. I do agree with all of those things, but if you want a real call to action, remember to check out the sale over on my Gumroad and Paya pages. I should probably put that in the chat, right? Can I do this stealthily without... Yes. Yes, buy stuff. I'm going on a holiday in 2 days. A little bit of extra money is always nice then. 2-week vacations don't pay for themselves, true. Even here, like the start of the new open hat that is added here, doesn't really bite. Right? It kind of... That's really the effect that you're missing here. That nothing is really tight in your track. The rest of it is, I would say, almost done. Even the part where you set like the break, yes, it is a little bit empty and it doesn't really progress too much, but it's, if you make it a little bit shorter, if you like half the idea, then even without the progression you can just use like the suspension, right? And then after that it should be okay. I have the huge trouble. I want to add another final part, but I think if it's like that, it's a dance beat and I should leave it at like 5 minutes pure dance energy. Yeah, that's probably what I would go for. You're at the 7-minute mark, so that is probably a good area to start with the outro. That being said, what I would probably do if you want to keep this part that is now the last part as an outro is to remove the little break that is over here, right? So just link those two things together instead. And then you can outro state from this thing, or you can write a little bit more drop here and make it a little bit longer, than maybe go up until 8 minutes, and then it should be okay. But do you think it should be a longer track, or do you think it's a good length? For techno, you're technically a little bit on the long side. I believe most techno ranges from 5 to 7 minutes. So if you were to add an outro on this, it goes a little bit more on the long side. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter, right? I don't think you... I don't think you should care that much that you should influence your art that way, especially because you're not yet at the point where you're specifically looking for things like DJ placements. If you are looking for DJ placement, then having a more standardized structure and having something that is essentially a DJ tool that people can work with is probably better than really following, you know, your own kind of feel of what you want to do. I know you like long breaks in the middle, and in this case, it is kind of okayish in terms of length, but I've also seen breaks of yours that are like 3 minutes in between. And that for most DJs, that's never going to work. They're never going to play something like that, right? So the whole structure, including the length of your track, is going to be dependent a little bit on your own art, what you would like to do, but you can adapt it to be better suitable for DJs, for sure. Next up, we have Rancor, also known as Raujo. I don't know if I should pronounce this in Dutch or English, because I don't know if they're Dutch, but that would be a funny word, I guess, in Netherlands. Not that it means anything, but just the way you tend to pronounce it. I have been trying to produce for the last year. I have several tracks, but no studies whatsoever, self-learning, and so here's one of them for you to review. Thanks in advance. Okay, looking. Okay, very high kick and bass. Is this the drop? Why is it so high? Yeah, you can turn your kick and bass both down an octave. You can take even your kick and have it, instead of having it play here, why not have it play in the part where the bass is actually supposed to play, which is around the sub bass area here. Or maybe that's where you're going now. No. Yeah, this sounds really wonky. I'm sorry, but this is distractingly wonky sounding now. Nightcore sidetrans, yeah. I was gonna say this sounds like the happy uplifting sidetrans you would hear in like a nursery rhyme or something like that. The sound design isn't really getting us there, but the high octave definitely does. I mean, the sound design is pretty crazy here. It is, again, drums-wise, it's a little bit washed. You can also have, just in general, a little bit more high frequencies on your hats, I would say. But the main issue is that really wonky kick and bass. I don't know why you decided to pitch up your kick and bass by an octave, but I would not do that. Instead of daytime sidetrans, it's daycare sidetrans. The wheels on the bus go round and round, the wheels on the bus go round and round, the wheels on the bus go round and round. It kind of fits with that. That's what I have in my head. This is very cool. Now at least we get a decent sub bass in here. Still, the kick doesn't reach exactly where you want it to be. I don't think the constant garage, like wobble bass is something I enjoy. I would play it every once in a while and not just continuously. It sounded a little bit like you're pressing the keys like that. Can you pitch down the whole track? I wonder if that would fix it on the fly. I cannot, unfortunately. No. It's because you guys, the way my system works is that you guys don't actually hear what is going on in Ableton. Like I can go in here onto the track and EQ something, right? And just go nuts. You can not hear this. Because that is because it splits it first in my mixer. And that sends it to two different spots. That sends it to the part that you hear and the part that I hear and the part that the DAW kind of hears. And the part that OBS hears, which is you guys. So I cannot control those individual streams and like pitch it up and down or stuff like that. I mean, for a guy that has been producing since last year, this is still very, very good. It's just that there's like one thing that you did that is really wonky, and that just distracts from everything. If you had literally made the bass line an octave lower, and you had made a proper kick that really nicely kind of slightly ducks under that, then it would be all fine. Right, then the big thing that we would be talking about is the slight washingness of it and the slight bite that you're missing on the drum sounds, but even like structures and that kind of stuff, there's nothing really that stands out. What might be interesting is to look a little bit more into fills and breaks and that kind of thing. Yeah, the track itself is not bad, even the structure works. It's just this kick and bass is too high. It's literally the spectrum is, you could take this spectrum and if you take this whole spectrum and you put it down here, it would be better, yeah. I tried to lower the octave, but it loses the vibe. It just becomes dark. The kick, I'll have to try to make lower. The lower octave, it loses the vibe. Yeah, but now you don't have a bass. You now have a bass without bass. So you have to make it an octave lower. Also, if you're saying, well, then I'll just add a sub, then you're going to get something else, which is going to be a problem. Which is, the whole point of a sideline bass is that we have a saw wave playing, right? And if we look at the saw wave in the lowest harmonic, or the lowest octave that we want to play, I think you were in F sharp. This is the area where you want it to happen, right? So F0, F sharp, 40 hertz kind of area. That is where the oomph of the bass is going to actually play. If you play it one octave up, you're like, oh, I'm just going to put a sine wave in here. I'm just going to add like a sub oscillator in here that's going to do this. Now notice that 1, 2, 3. This is a lot thinner here. So it loses a lot of the warmth. Right now we're also losing stuff because this is... Yeah, now it's consistent. So this versus this, and again without the sub. You can see how it's much cooler here, so that is going to get you much warmer feeling, and that is why virtually everybody writing in the key F sharp would use this octave as opposed to this one. Honestly, the best way I can describe your track right now, Raw Joe, is that the vibe that you're trying to capture is cartoony, I feel. And I don't think that that's the right vibe to go for with a Sidetrans track. It is literally that wheels of the bus go round and round kind of Coco Melon or animation kind of vibe that I'm getting from this track, right? That is not really the kind of serious like vibe that I'm expecting of a Sidetrans track. It almost feels like a parody of Sidetrans, to be honest. So, in my opinion, I would exactly turn it down an octave, even if you lose a little bit of the vibe that you have now. I think that that's a worthy sacrifice of just having a proper bass line in there. I forgot I had snacks here. Next up, we have Project 35 by Vernal Equinox. Let's see. I like the vocal effect. I don't mind that the vocal was too destroyed to be able to understand it, but I don't get why it was panned to the left. Secondly, I'm not a fan of these kind of bass lines where you have, yeah, the multiple plugs. I talked about this at the start of the stream. I personally really like just having one of them. I don't even know how you would get to have that click still in there, because your mid-range seems to be gone in this cycle here. The bassline could also be a little bit louder. Maybe 2 dB. How do you get rid of multiple plugs? I think it has to do with the filter envelope, but honestly, I have never personally had that multiple plug kind of idea in my bassline, so I wouldn't know. Okay, this doesn't work. You have triplets and then quarter notes playing on top of each other. So here you can see you have one rhythm that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and they have another rhythm that is 1, 2, 3. So that doesn't work. If you want to use that sound in here, I would just create a new version of it, or either, depending on how you made it, either you have to create a new version of it that is triplets, or you have to change the MIDI to play triplets. Same is true with your drums. You cannot have the drums that are on the triplets be quarter notes, because that doesn't line up. Yeah, nothing really lines up here, nothing really works. I don't get why you decided to go for triplets under this. Like, you must hear that these are competing groups, right? Yeah. That's a big issue. I would honestly get rid of the triplets is probably what I would do. Given that you're going for this kind of darkish vibe, you can probably get nicer results just keeping rolling bassline all the way through. and not going into the triplet. We have 4 more tracks. I did want to make wavetables. I guess we can do another hour-ish of wavetables. That will be fine. Okay. And then I'm going to end it there. Next up, we have sulfuric acid by Kanish Anto. Let's see. This guy has visuals. I could put this maybe... No, you cannot put it under there. Is it quiet because I turned it down here? Yes. You can hear this is gonna be somebody that isn't, or that didn't like start producing with sidetrans because they think it's should be all melodic. We don't do that around here. That's also a very strange kick for sidetrans. Very muffly kick. Same issue with the bass. Ooh. Again, somebody deciding that melody is what is needed inside of sidetrans. It's not really the way that we tend to do things. So this sounds just entirely casual, to be honest. To be honest, this sound reminds me of the riff machine in FL Studio. What's it? Is that what it's called? The riff machine or the riff generator or something like that? As it was meant to making these types of just continuously sequencing melodies. I'm pretty sure I know how this main melody is made, and what I would probably do is delete it completely. Same with the bass line, changing keys here. Just keep it in the same key. Not any real rhyme or reason to what is happening now here. The visuals are... They went absolutely insane for a second there. Not really any structure to what you're doing here. There's vocals panned hard right into the busiest part of the track, so you can definitely not hear what they're saying. this track could have been done an octave lower. It's the same problem as the last track. He's playing in F1, or now in C1, I think. Yeah, now it's in C1, so now you would keep it here, but before it was playing in F at some point, and then you just have to lower it an octave. Yeah, it's very, very clear to me that you're still beginner, that you have a lot to learn. Stuff is just kind of happening. There isn't really any rhyme or reason to it here. So look into just the fundamentals and things as structuring, basic kick and bass creation. The basic ways that rhythms are made for psytrance. Listen to a bunch of tracks and see if you can hear how few melodies are actually used, and if a melody is used, how it's actually done. Because you seem to be going all over the place with that stuff. Where can I send? As you can see from the stream title, you cannot. Submissions have already been closed. It doesn't really feel like the person is trying to make old school Goa. Look at the visuals, by the way. It's just going. How long is it? 8 minutes. Oh wow. There was a different vocal in the left and the right channel at the same time, I think. Yeah, there's just a lot of strange things that you're doing. I don't get why you're doing things. Other than this is, as you say, the third track that you've produced this year. And I'm assuming the third track also ever. Because it's very clear that you're still a beginner. So my biggest recommendation for you is to listen to a lot of music on your system. Yeah, and you're just gonna get better. To be honest, this is, yeah, as I said, somebody that is just starting out, and the only thing that really helps them is consistently listening to other people's music in order to train their ears to find out what sound is actually supposed to sound like. Next up, we have Reverk again. Wasn't bad for a start. I mean, yeah, the structure and stuff like that is there, but like sound design and the melodies weren't really capturing me. The kick and bass wasn't really that great at all. To be honest, maybe it's because I am not a fan of old school, and this has some vibes of the old school as well. But even for the old school stuff, I feel like the old school stuff tends to be, how would you say that? I like whenever in old school you hear like combined melodies, right, and different layers on top of it. It's always like it's just the modulations that are kind of mixing. Like you can have two melodies play at once, and then both of them have like a phaser or a bandpass or whatever on them, and they're both doing a thing, and it then feels like it's just those modulations that are interacting with each other, and it's not really like melodies clashing and that kind of stuff. In this case, that was the case. So I think that is really where, for me, the bad is kind of coming in. But it's natural to write bad music as you're starting out. That's the point. You'd still have to learn how to actually do it, right? Okay. Moving on, we'll have Reverk, and then we have two more. Okay, nice. XX-302_Reverk. 10 whole minutes. Thanks for the feedback, 100% respect. You're welcome. I'm sorry it's sometimes a little bit negative, but I hope that at least the realism of it, at least for me, is that's helpful, right? I feel like that vocal step thingy is based around triplets. Yeah, that's triplets, so that doesn't work. Yeah, that shouldn't work.
What does that mean for us?
What a mess. What a rumbly mess. This one isn't as strong as the last one, Reverk. This is messy. It is also squashed. Like in the breaks, it stayed loud. That is usually a good indication that the track is squashed in mastering. I can definitely hear that in the sense that all of the reverbs and all of the details in between, like kick transient, bass transient, and all of that stuff is just being squashed together too much. We're almost at the bonus hour of the expected 2 hours on feedback. Yeah, I honestly just got many more submissions than I was expecting. Because we're gonna probably get around, yeah, almost exactly 3 hours now, yeah. Depending a little bit on how long that last track is. This is the last track, right? Oh no, two more. We're gonna go over even 3 hours then.
Have you ever thought about timelines? About parallel universes? How parallel are they really? Does everything happen at the same time? Or are there differences? What role does time play for you? For all of us? Are we floating in a universe that is connected to others by gravity? What happens when these universes collide?
Some really cool atmospheres in here. This is cool. this is good stuff. Maybe have your rumble a little bit lower. It is mainly rumbling around like 60 hertz here. Probably want that around 40, maybe even like 35-ish here. Getting a little bit in the territory where it becomes too washed. Yeah, this is, we're starting to get to the point where it's just gonna be reverb fills again, right? Yeah.
What happens when these universes collide?
Expect the techno kick to be so powerful, very rumbly. Yes. I think it's too high in its rumble. It needs to, as I said, it needs to be a little bit lower. But other than that, it is indeed very powerful. Very nice. Nice transient. You could low pass the kick at around 10k if you want to. If you want to kind of control the snap of it a bit more. But when it comes to reverb, this is way too much. We've all of the like mid elements, we've just been listening to their reverb. Is it a kick? Where is it? Given the kick has like 3 notes, I am assuming. Is the kick just like this bit here? Why does this feel like it has like a super powerful mid-range and then there's no sub whatsoever? Yeah, so this is actually just a kick and then it lowers. That's definitely a bad idea. Very nasty click here as well. I had the wrong option for rendering on in FL Studio. Now what you probably have is that it renders until it goes to silence, which is what you want. And because you use reverbs that are 8 light years long, that's the issue. It has nothing to do with the feature, because that feature is probably the one that you actually want to have on. Nice atmosphere. It's way too much. The reverb is way too much. Like, the reverb is still playing there, and what FL is going to do is it's going to say, okay, the song probably ends when it's very, very silent. So we're just going to wait for the silence to drop out, and that is where we're going to stop the render. So the tail has to do with the fact that you have set up a setting that generates such a long reverb that it takes a long time for the volume to actually drop to the threshold that it needs to stop rendering. Because what otherwise is going to happen is that it's going to cut off the reverb tails, which is also not what you want. You want to keep those reverb tails because it sounds strange if suddenly the reverb tail cuts up at the end of a song, right? That sounds very unnatural. It's much more natural for a reverb tail to just kind of fade out and slide out. Okay, next up we have Sounds by Jlight, work in progress. It's actually the artist that is in progress. I think I made that joke last week as well. Very wide sounds here. Why is everything so wide? I have no idea what's happening. I like how you guys are still seriously like discussing the track. I'm sorry, but yeah. random stuff is just happening for 3 minutes and 40 seconds. That's the best way I can describe this. There's a little bit of a rhyme and reason to it, but overall, it's just, as we call in Italian, casino. Just things happening without really any reasons. Again, this is the kind of track where the only thing I can really say is that you should probably listen to a lot more reference material. My recommendation is half an hour per day, at least. But it is probably a good idea to start off with an hour. And even I could have informed lesson. That's an offer, by the way. This is the new style. Yes. No, with these kind of tracks, there's not much more to say than other than the fact that this is somebody's like third production or fourth production, and they don't really know yet what is happening. So yeah, there's not much more to say other than just continue that. And if you like, the best thing that you can do now for your improvement is just to listen to a lot of other people's music and hear where you're like obviously not hitting the ballpark, right? Is that how you say it? Not hitting the ballpark? Not in the ballpark. You're not in the ballpark. Yes. You're not hitting the mark. That's how you say it. And there, yeah. So for probably the next like year, there's gonna be a lot of listening that you would need to do. Key changes were weird because it has no harmonic support. Yeah, as I said, this is a person that is just starting out, probably doesn't know music theory. Maybe the creator is one of those people that can't differentiate between different pitches. There is a good possibility that I am one of those people. Because anytime you guys say, oh, like, oh, this is clearly out of tune, I never hear it. Anytime I'm trying to give feedback and there's stuff out of tune, I just don't. I don't hear it. I might be completely tone deaf. Which means that it's great that I'm a psytrance producer. Anyway, we're going to hopefully end on a high note here with Canal Orc Hungry to Master. Already starting off with some cool artwork there. If you're tone deaf, then just do dark side. I mean, that's the reason why I'm into psytrance in the first place, is because we don't do music theory. Nice clean kick and bass, I like that. That's a little bit of a loud moment there. You can turn that synth down a bit. Same with some of these atmospheres, they're getting a little bit on the overpowering side. Or I guess that's some kind of like washed out crash or something. Ooh, you have some Q on there, so it's becoming, as the filter moves throughout that like low frequency, it's becoming louder, slightly. That's definitely something that you need to be very careful with, because there it was distorting. I feel like the bass is a bit too loud for the kick. Like the kick could probably be 1 or 2 dB louder for this track. The Q of the filter is too sharp, too high, yes. Nice vocals, nicely put in the mix there. Sounding very, very nice. I like where it is. I do think it's a little bit on the bright side mix-wise. So EQing-wise, probably from around like 500, 600 hertz, I would maybe slightly roll off faster. Because while I say just because like dark side tends to be like if you're mixing dark side, it's not the case that you are significantly darker than if you're mixing something like full on. But you are a little bit darker. And right now this feels like it's mixed full on wise. If you just feel the spectrum, it feels a little bit overly bright. You can tilt EQ the entire track maybe. I'm pretty certain about what I just said. You don't want to adjust anything in the low frequencies here. You just want to shelve off the higher frequencies here. You turn off the filter when you don't use it. Do not do that. Keep the filter on. A constant phase shift is much easier to deal with than all of the clicks and pops that you're getting from filters turning off and on. As well as variable phase shift on your bassline is the last thing that you want.
Check your model caps.
Overall, this is a good example of a part where I would say that the chaoticness is not too much, because you have that ting ting, ting ting, so that adds that stability that you want throughout this part of the track, and then you're doing stuff around that, right? Yes, this is Opsy's track. At least same name in this track. Nice to see plans being made in my YouTube chat.
What's the matter, son? Look at the shape. Your head's purple, you got blotches.
Projector fan meetup, yes. I feel like there's almost still some distortion going on. Are you saturating your kick drum? Wait, did you make your kick drum from a fucking triangle wave? That's what's happening here. Why is this... Why are these straight lines almost?
He kept saying there were rats in the trees by his house.
Are you making it from your kick from a triangle wave? Is that why it feels like slightly distorted? It's 3 kicks, you made 1. Okay. Then why is this so thinning here, even when it's... That's not what the sine wave is, right?
Yeah.
It was filled with rainwater. Then forgot he stopped, he got on his hands and knees and he started doing himself.
Right, guys, I'm not crazy, right? This is... That's a triangle, right? An actual meetup would be cool, but I guess we're all in totally different parts of the world. I would like to organize something like Eclipse is, or Eclipse is doing. I said Eclipse, but that's my label. What Eclipse is doing, which is at Boom Festival, he's doing something. Like a one-day board shop course kind of thing, I think. Yeah, maybe in Switzerland. Could be cool to do something like what Eclipse is doing, but at Burning Mountain. So overall, what I think, I mean, it's a pretty decent track. The main thing that I'm now worried about is how are you making your kick drums? Why are you layering bodies and that kind of stuff? And why is it a triangle? That is really crazy, to be honest. But other than that, overall, it sounds very, very nice. Okay, do I want to make more wavetables? I really don't want to, and I'm pretty tired. I have to go and edit. It's a neutral place. Yes, Switzerland would be a neutral place. Not when I'm there. It's need be no more than I can change. It's gonna be out soon. Yeah, that happens. Just check for next time. Honestly, just make a kick drum with something like Audija. Literally tomorrow I'm releasing my kick pack for Audija. Tomorrow? No, in 2 days. I'll be releasing it. Just go... kick drum here. And it's gonna be... Does it play? Yes. See, and all of this is sine wave. So all of this is like elongated here and kind of bulged out, which is what a sine wave does. But yours was like triangle, like... Can I get to a triangle here? I cannot change the phase, so no. I would need to do it the other way. I cannot show you what a triangle would look like here, but you kind of get the point. It's strange because it's essentially just a little bit more distortion. Essentially what you're doing is slightly adding more like harmonics to it, right? I cannot get that exact shape here with this harmonic editor because there's no phase editor for the harmonics. But that's not a big problem. Where are you on the globe? I am in Italy. It sounded fine. Yes, it's not sounding bad. I'm just intrigued because in my mind, immediately what starts happening is is there a video idea here? You know what I mean? Like if I discover something like this is one of those things that I'm start to thinking like, what would it do to have a triangle as your wave size? Wait. I can do that in Kick Ninja, I think. I can do that. I believe Kick Ninja can do triangle waves. At least I hope. Yeah, here. There you go. This is what I was seeing, right? This kind of triangle thing. It was a little less, I guess, maybe like a little bit bent like that. Kind of in betweenish. And even in here we can say, okay, we start more triangle here. It's kind of like this, you get a little bit of that distortion you keep in there. Of course, for sidetrends, this might not be exactly what you want. But just as a kick with a little bit of triangle at the start, that would be nice. I don't think it would be nice having it like here as well, right? Yeah, that's gonna stay. You would almost then want to... Or is there distortion in here? There's distortion in here. Okay, that's not what we want. I guess this is what I'm hearing. That kind of smoothed out triangle through the filtering. You had 3 layered kicks and had 1 longer transient. I think the triangle was one of the short ones. That cannot be because I saw the triangle in the tail. I saw the triangle shape kind of here, which is what we're getting now as well. Right? This is a sine wave, right? That's so that it kind of like continuously bends. But here you can see it just kind of stays a line for a while. And that is what I saw. It's much more like pinched than your actual sine wave over here. Okay. That's enough for me. I'm gonna spend the evening editing content for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I know normally nowadays we do a little bit of extra stuff, and I wanted to do wavetables as well, but I'm just too tired, and I'll do that another time. But yeah. Oh, okay, I'm wrong a lot. That may be, yeah. I don't know. I saw it in the tail, the triangle wave. So that is where I got it from. That's the only thing I can say. Anyway, bye-bye. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. See you guys next year. And, oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Bye-bye.